Recently, lots of simulators have been booming on Roblox, and some of them are great, but some of them are just utter trash. So I decided to create a list of 25 different Roblox simulators, and I'm going to be ranking them. From trying to become just like Queso to becoming a YouTuber with millions and millions of subscribers. But anyway, let's get into it. First up is Merge Simulator. Now this game is quite good. You have to go around and merge all of the different Minecraft blocks together to try and make bigger and more expensive blocks. But the problem is this game can get quite repetitive after probably about 30 minutes. It does get quite boring and you have to keep getting the same blocks again and again. It's just not that great. For multiplayer wise, it's not really that good. You have to try and merge blocks together, which is possible, but it's not done in the best way. It probably could be improved on. The originality of this game is pretty good. I checked all the other top merging simulators and none of them were made before this game. And just for this reason, this is going to go in could be better. Just a little bit of context, I didn't really mention it before, but there will be a three-way ranking system in which the games will be voted on. First, how repetitive the game is. Second, can you play the game with your friends? And finally, how original the game is. But technically also how fun the game is as well. But anyway, back to the video. The next game is Build a Boat Simulator. Now in this one, you have to try and build the most creative and the strongest boat and try and traverse past all of the different obstacles just to try and get to the end and get that awesome almighty golden block. Now this game is so good and it's not really that repetitive. You can play this game for probably hours on end because each time you finish, you can get new blocks, make bigger boats, and it's quite a creative game, I think. The playing with friends is really good. You've got PvP, which you can go against each other, and you can also co-op and build a big boat together. And finally, it is a pretty original game. I'm not going to lie, I quite enjoy this. So for this reason, I'm going to stick it in It's Alright. This next one is Car Repair Simulator. Now this game is one where you have to try and pick up junk from around the map and try and help rebuild the cars. And it is really good. Personally, for me, I could play this for probably hours and hours and hours on end and still find it fun because I really like cars and that sort of stuff. Also, the multiplayer in this isn't really that good. There's not really many things you can do together other than just see each other on the map. And originality, this game, I've literally seen nothing like this game before. And I actually quite like this game, but there's still a couple things which can be improved on, so it's going to be alright. Now, we all know this game, Pet Simulator 99. Now, this game is quite new. It hasn't been out for too long compared to other games. The problem is with this game is it gets quite repetitive, which isn't very good. It gets kind of boring after you've unlocked all the stages and things like that. And this game is not original at all. This is based off 3 previous games, which have been made by the same company. And multiplayer wise, it's alright. It's not too bad, but I have made videos on it before, so I'm gonna have to stick it in like you like it. I mean, I just can't put it anywhere else. Game number 5 is going to be YouTuber Simulator Z. Mr. Beast! Now, this game has been based off a real-life game called YouTube Simulator, but this game does it really well when you have to try and make the videos in the editor, and also when you are creating the thumbnails in a Photoshop style. Sadly, you're not able to play this as a multiplayer game. It's mainly single and solo-handedly, and also it is a long game. You can play this for ages and ages and ages, and I don't think you can really get bored because you can rebirth, unlock many new things, and even furnish a house. Well, I'm a YouTuber as well, so I'm gonna have to stick it in. I'm loving it. This time we have Car Crushers 2. Now this game is really fun. You are able to go around and smash up your cars from slamming it straight into a wall to get cutting up by lasers. Now there are so many different vehicles you're able to unlock and so many different smashing methods, which kind of makes it last a very long time before you actually even get bored of playing the game, which is quite nice. And it's really good to play with friends. I really enjoy doing it because we get to see who can make the most money and who is able to smash their cars in the most weirdest ways possible. This is based off the original game, but it is significantly better than the first one. Like by a lot, because they've been constantly updating the game, which is really nice. But for this reason, it's going straight into like you like. Game number 7 is Destruction Simulator. Now, this is probably one of the oldest ones on the list as it came out all the way back in 2016. Now, this game, the only issue I have with it is that it can get pretty boring after a while because, well, once you keep blowing things up again and again and again, it does get boring. It loses the fun after a while, which isn't really that nice. Thankfully, what also brings this game up quite a bit is you're able to play with friends and you're able to blow loads of things up together to be able to get a quicker, awesome experience. And also, it is definitely one of the first of its kind. I literally could not find anything like it around the same time release date or before as it, which means it's quite a good game, so this must be an alright game. Now, I did mention this in the intro, and this is Get Fat Simulator. Now, this game is very very repetitive. I absolutely hate it because it's so boring. You just have to keep clicking and clicking and clicking, and you may as well just AFK and do the exact same thing as you playing. I mean, at least it is kind of fun to punch people when you're at like a really big height, or fat level, should I say, when you're able to punch the little noobs, which I guess is quite fun, but that also does get boring pretty quickly. I can guarantee if you search up Get Fat or Fattening Simulator, there are going to be so many different things. And just for this reason, this is going and could be better. There's so many things could be improved on. This is one I've actually discovered pretty recently, and this is Glider Simulator. Now, this is a fairly new one, which actually isn't that bad. It is getting quite repetitive, but because you're doing the same thing each time, but because you're able to unlock more things and get further and further and fly around even cooler, which I really like, so I could play this game for probably a couple hours and still enjoy the full experience. Now, you can see other people when you're flying, but I wouldn't say this is the best game to play with your friends because you're not really doing much together. It's more of an individual sort of sport, flying around by yourself trying to pick up all the coins. And there is probably only one game which I could find very similar to this, and this is Flying Simulator or Fly Simulator, but this came out like 6 months after this game released, so this is definitely one of its kind. And just for this reason, it's going to go in It's Alright. And finally, the last game is Hoop Simulator. Now, this is a basketball game where you have to try and move further and further back away from the hoop and see how far you are able to get it in. You can do this by upgrading your strength, your speed, and accuracy. Now, this is quite interesting. It doesn't get too repetitive because it's quite fun having to try and go back and shoot further and further, unlocking all of the different worlds. Playing this game with friends is quite fun because you get to see who is able to get the furthest back in the quickest amount of time, and I literally could not find any other games like this. This is definitely an original, and probably I'm gonna stick it in. Let's go with Likey Like because it's really, really good. Games 11 to 15. But first, Pet Simulator X. I know where this needs to go. Literally, I don't need to say any more about it. Now, this next game is called Regretivator. Now, this game is really, really good. It's kind of like a better version of the normal elevator. And this is where you have to travel between all of the different floors and try and survive, get to the end, do the obstacle course. There's quite a lot of things you can do, and it's really, really fun to play. And it's absolutely great with friends because you get to like mess around together, try and survive. And there's like things you can buy, which are like gears, which change the gameplay, which are quite funny, I'm not gonna lie. And I could play this for absolutely ages, and just because of this, it is such a good and funny game. This has to be a likey like. There's nowhere else to put it. Now, personally, I don't really like these, but this is called Laundry Simulator. Now, this game is kind of a copy-paste game. There's quite a few games like this, but this sadly is one of the first of its kind. All you have to do is walk inside the middle of a building, collect different bits of clothes such as socks, pants, and trousers, and then what you have to do is take them back to your washing machine and wash them. Yep, that's literally, you're just doing a chore as a video game. I mean, come on, that's just stupid enough as it is. This gets really boring. I played this for like 5 to 10 minutes and instantly wanted to switch it off because it was so bad. There's literally no multiplayer access other than seeing each other. And I just don't really like this game, so this could be better. Next up, we have Mining Simulator. Now, this game is the first of its kind. There are multiple other games based off of it, but we'll be getting to one of them later on. Now, this is quite fun. It does get a little boring after a while. You can usually play it for about hour and a half, and I think you'd still enjoy it, but after that, anything, it's just constantly rebirthing. Thankfully, you are able to do, like, challenges with your friends inside of it. There's also quests, because it's kind of fun trying to dig down with your friends to see if you can reach that bottom level. But this game is alright. There are a couple things which could be improved on, but it's going to go in alright. It's kind of a mediocre game. Now, we have all definitely played this as children. This is Ninja Legends. Now, this game is absolutely amazing when I used to play it as a child, but the only problem is now playing it when I'm slightly older just gets a bit repetitive, just trying to jump up, rebirth, jump up, rebirth. It kind of gets a bit repetitive, and I don't really enjoy doing that sort of stuff. There is a slightly multiplayer access to it where you're able to go against each other in like a dual PvP battle, which is kind of fun. And also, this is one of the first of its kind, but there are quite a few other games which have been made very similar to this, but this was the first one to be made. It's an alright game. I think if I was a bit younger, I'd probably put it in I likey like, but because of my opinions now and how old I am, I'm definitely going to go with It's Alright. Moving on to the penultimate game, we have Pressure Washing Simulator. Now, this game is one where you have to go around and clean up all of the different areas, from things such as houses, water fountains, and even cars, which is pretty cool. Now, I absolutely love cleaning games, which means I'm going to love playing this. I could play this for ages, and I have played it for quite a while, and I actually find it quite fun. Sadly, though, my friends can't really play it with me, as it's more of a single-player sort of game. And because this game was so good, a actual Steam game was made pretty much based off the exact same thing, just slightly different things you're clearing up. But because I wish there could be a multiplayer aspect, I'm going to stick it in It's Alright. I absolutely hate games like this, and this is Punch Wall Simulator. These games are like one of the most repetitive things you can physically find on Roblox. All you have to do is punch a wall, buy some stuff. Punch a wall, buy some stuff. I mean, that's literally all you do constantly over and over and over again. You're just punching a straight wall for ages. It's a single player game, so you're not even to play with your friends. And this game is literally based off another game with the exact same name. There are two games called Punch Wall Simulator. And instantly, for this reason, it just has to go along with Get Banned with Pet Simulator X. They are both terrible games. This next game is Realistic Ragdoll. This is basically a better version of a Ragdoll engine because there are so many more things you're able to have fun with. You can get crushed by a hammer, get whacked by a moving car, and then fling yourself off stairs, which is really funny. And because there's so many things you can do, it's a great game to play with your friends. You can mess around together. There's even like rocket launchers, which you can blow people up, which is quite funny, I'm not gonna lie. But honestly, I'm gonna have to stick it in I'll be honest. This is actually a really good game. If you watched my previous video, you're gonna know this game, and this is Retro Studio. Now, this is basically an old emulator of Roblox, which is really cool. It can simulate like old Roblox games, natural disaster survival, and a couple others which I'm not going to mention, so you can go and check out my old video to go and see what happened in there. But because it's basically an old version of Roblox, there are so many games to play with your friends, try and survive different things, getting whacked by different things. It's quite interesting to see what other people have made, and honestly, it's just a pretty impressive game as a whole. But because I've made videos on it, and it's based off old Roblox, this has to be a loving it game. It's just so good. And game number 20 is Sled Simulator. Now, this is a game where you have to slide down a giant hill and make it as far down as you can without your sled breaking. But now, I'm not gonna lie, thinking about it, it's very similar to Broken Bones, but instead you're just in a sled and your boat breaks, which is kind of similar game sort of style, but they look quite different, which is quite nice. And it does sound quite fun, but after a while it does get pretty boring because you're just watching yourself. But one of the good things which I do like about this game is the multiplayer aspect. Now, what you can do is you can press play at the same time and race each other down the hill to see who can get the furthest. But honestly, there's quite a few things which could be improved on, so it's going to go and could be better. Moving on to the last final games. First up, we have Strongman Simulator. Now, this game is pretty different from your typical weightlifting game. Usually it's just a clicker game, and that's pretty much all you do. But in this one, you have to try and drag items across the finish line to be able to get points. Now, this game is really good, but only if you use the codes listed in the description of the game, because you get 2 times everything pretty much. You are able to slightly play this with your friends, but you can't really do much together other than massively seeing each other, which is kind of a downside for this game. But as this is quite different from your standard weightlifting game, I'm going to have to give it an It's Alright. Game number 22, we have Tower Defense Simulator. Now, this game, I'm sure everybody knows. This is a really good simulator game on Roblox. Now, this game allows you to unlock many different towers, and there's multiple game modes, which does allow you to play for a very long time. This is a great cooperation game to play with your friends because you can work together. And I'll be honest, this was probably one of the first tower defense games on Roblox, but we're just gonna stick this in. I'm loving it straight away. It's such a flipping good game. Then we have Tornado Simulator. Now, this game allows you to eat different things and allow you to get bigger and bigger. It's kind of based off of Hole.io, if you know that mobile game. Now, the only problem with this, you literally cannot play multiplayer on this other than seeing each other. To be honest, that's really not that good, so I'm gonna stick it in could be better. Now we have this game, Treasure Hunt Simulator. Now, this game is quite similar to Mining Simulator, but the problem is it does get quite repetitive after a while, because once you've bought a load of things, you just keep playing again, rebirthing, getting chests, rebirthing. It does kind of repeat itself quite a lot, which isn't as fun, but it is good to play with friends because you can just dig down together and try and get right to the bottom layer. But because I wish there could be a slightly better multiplayer aspect and it be a bit less repetitive, it's just going to go in It's Alright. And the final game, game number 25, we have Sonic Speed Simulator. Now, this game, if you haven't played it before, is an absolute hecking crazy thing to work around. There are way too many different side quests, challenges, events. There's so much in this game. I think there's a bit too much in this game. At the end of the day, you're just going around doing challenges, which does get quite boring quite quickly, and it's not the best game to play with your friends as well. But honestly, it's an okay game, but because it's Sonic, I'm gonna have to stick it in likey like. Not a lot of love in it though. Final tier list. Now, this one came out slightly better than I thought it would, but I will leave a link to this in the description so you are able to try it out for yourself, so I can see what everyone else's opinions are. But thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join the Discord. But I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.